I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but these layoffs are not stopping. More and more people are losing their jobs for one reason or another. Employees are now fighting to just make money, to keep the job that they currently have. That's something that is a complete shift from just last year, even 2 years ago, where employees were willing to go anywhere because every single place that they went was hiring. Now it's completely different. Today I want to break down what's going on, what Boeing is doing, what Amazon just announced, what Dell just did, and how Verizon is going to cut their workforce as well. So again, break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates, and now let's begin. Okay, what I'm about to show you is one of the risks that we have addressed about a year or 2 years ago. Look at this story right here. It says Boeing says it's considering temporary layoffs to save cash during the strike by machinists. Now, what is going on here? Well, roughly 33,000 workers for Boeing are on strike. Here's the reason why this is a very, very big deal. Those workers are on strike because they're fighting for better wages. Okay, they want a higher, or increase their salary. They want fairer working conditions, things like that. Well, here's the issue. They decided to go on strike, and now Boeing, as a way to save cash, according to them, is planning their temporary layoffs. Well, here's the issue. If they consider a temporary layoff and start to lay off certain employees, guess what? Those employees are not going to get paid even close to what Boeing is currently paying them if they go on unemployment. So now, those 33,000 people that are currently on strike, guess what? They're getting pressure from the union, right? They're getting pressure from through the negotiation, but then they'll start getting pressured by their co-workers who just got laid off because Boeing is trying to save cash in order to really pay for that strike. You see where this could go? You see how Boeing is now going to play the other employees against the people on strike? Yeah, that's exactly what is happening. That's exactly what we were concerned with many months ago in a different strike. That all it takes is for the people to go on strike, then the company lays off another division, and then that division comes after the ones that went on strike. Again, they're just going to fight for each other, fight against each other. It's going to turn into a massive problem. But that's just one story. Look at this one. Amazon orders employees to return to the office 5 days a week and warns of corporate restructuring. Guess what? You don't want to come into the office 5 days a week? Fine. Well, we are going to let you go. I want to read a little bit of this article right here. It says Amazon is mandating that corporate workers return to the office 5 days a week. It says the return to office mandate is a sharp change from its current hybrid policy, which requires employees to work from the office at least 3 days a week. It says that Amazon employees will have until January 2nd to switch to the new policy. At that point, guess what? We could see more layoffs. So again, I'm bringing this to your attention because these employers are finding ways around all the benefits, the incentives that you received years ago. All those people that had all the power. And I talked about this early on in the pandemic, that the employee was going to have the power. They could dictate their wages. They could dictate their hours work. They could dictate a lot of their benefits because employers didn't have a lot to choose from back then. Now, things are different. Look at this. It says Verizon to lose almost 5,000 employees by March. It says a horrible year for tech workers continues. It's not just going to be a horrible 2024. 2025 is expected to be bad as well. That's why many of these companies are considering laying off more people, potentially thousands of people over the next handful of months, because they need to cut costs in order to increase profitability. Look at this one. Dell says job cuts will continue with margins under pressure. This is just from earlier this week, okay, or Yeah, earlier this week, 6 days ago, 7 days ago. It says September 10th, 2024. Yeah, that is, again, I'm bringing this to your attention because this is exactly what I've been warning you guys about. These layoffs aren't going to stop. And again, this week, today and tomorrow, we are getting reports we're pretty much getting the Federal Reserve to decide whether or not they're going to cut interest rates. And if they do, and that's the expectation, how much do they cut rates by? Do they cut it by, a 25 basis point rate cut, maybe a 50 basis point rate cut? Well, we're going to find that out tomorrow. What we know as of today is a rate cut's coming. Now, with that said, what should we expect? Well, expect changes. Expect businesses to restructure, just like we've seen with Amazon, Boeing, right? These businesses are going to change. AI is going to start taking over, and as it does, employees are going to start losing their jobs, not by the hundreds, but potentially the thousands. We're anticipating that by 2030, we're going to see almost 3 million people lose their jobs only because of AI. Not because of restructuring, not because of profitability, not because of anything else, just because of AI. Now, here's what I want to leave you with. We know these layoffs are coming. We know there's a very high likelihood that we see additional inflation. If we see additional inflation, there's a good chance we're going to see more people get raises at their current place of work. But here's the issue. How much are these employers willing to pay you? Are they going to pay you enough to keep you there? What's the cost of some of these layoffs? What's the cost of people staying at home, working from home, working remotely, right? The hybrid work environment. What are those costs? And I bring that up because this is what employers are trying to figure out this time. They're trying to figure out ways to cut costs, and unfortunately the quickest way to cut costs is to pretty much lay off employees. The next thing you can do is increase the amount of money you bring in, increase your revenue. But how do you do that? Well, you can charge more for your product or service. The issue there is we are dealing with so much inflation, people are pushing back. Consumers don't want to keep spending. They're not going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year to buy these products. That's the issue. So, what I want to leave you with is be prepared. If you currently have a job and your job is not, how am I going to say this? Nobody's job is safe. So if you currently have a job, you need to be looking at a way to bring in a side hustle. Bring down your expenses, right? Pay off some of your debt. Okay? Get rid of your credit cards. Okay? Get rid of those bills. But bring down your expenses, increase your income, and you should be perfectly fine moving forward. But it's going to be a tough end of 2024. The expectation is the first 3 to 6 months of 2025 will be difficult as well. So just make sure you are prepared for whatever's to come. But I will leave you with that. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.